A good plan. Maybe you can try that with the other section that you're going to be teaching later today. Try redoing the chart and putting them together.
Yeah.
Okay. So what about the behavior management issues? That's an area that we've been working on that you wanted to strengthen yourself on. How did you feel that went today?
Yeah, I felt it was good in terms of that I was firm with certain students in the class, and also I thought the transitions went well. The discussion part I'm not so sure about, because I felt like on the one hand they were really engaged with the text, but on the other hand, because they were so engaged, the discussion was really getting away from me. I felt like I was a bit losing control over the class.
Okay, because I saw it differently. I thought you handled it really well. And looking here at the notes, they were arguing back and forth, but they were quoting from the text, and they were really animated and engaged, and that doesn't happen so often in class.
Right, that's true. But like by the end, I wasn't really even calling on them. They were just like going back and forth with each other.
Right. Well, it looks. At a certain point, and I thought it was the right point, you stopped the discussion and you brought the students back, and I thought you took control really nicely.
Oh, thanks. I wasn't sure if I lost control.
Yeah. Okay, look, it sometimes is scary when the kids, when it feels like they're taking over, but I think you saw that you could step in and take control again. Yeah. So what about Mr. Ethan?
Yeah, right, so you saw that I moved him. I felt it was the right thing to do, but it was definitely a bit uncomfortable for me.
Why?
So it was my third time teaching the class and with the kids, and the first time I've ever moved somebody.
But you handled it professionally. And what I wrote down in my notes, that you went over to him during the to-do, and you said to him, Ethan, the time for the to-do is almost over, and you've written nothing. You can't afford to be talking. Please get to work. You were clear what you wanted. And then when John, who was sitting next to him, was reading and Ethan kept bothering him, you walked over and you stood next to Ethan and you gave him a warning. And when you moved him, you did it very quietly in a way that really did not back him into a corner. It didn't engender any kind of confrontation.
Ah, thank you.
Well done.
Thanks.
Well done.
I guess I took the right steps. Inside I was definitely nervous.
Well, you didn't look it on the outside. You looked very much in charge. Okay. Anything else you want to address?
I think that was it. Did you notice anything else?
There is one thing I wanted to revisit with you, and I think you are still struggling with repeating what the students say every time. And
Did I do that again?
You did. I have it down here that 6 times in a row, the student said something and you repeated it back. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it must be I'm trying to give them positive feedback.
Okay. Like, we've raised this a little bit before. When you repeat after them, they stop listening to each other because they know you're going to do it. It's like a ping pong game. Right. And what you really want to do is keep the ball out there. You don't want to be talking so much at a time. Okay?
Yeah, it's hard habits to break.
Okay, so let's talk about a couple strategies that might help you. Okay. One is that you can ask another student to repeat. Obviously, you're going to do that only if it's an answer worth repeating, but you might say, okay, Sam, could you now repeat what Ethan just said? Okay, which is saying to them, I expect you to listen to one another. Or in a similar vein, you can say, Sam, do you want to comment on something that Ethan just said? Or if it's a good question you have, you can think of it less like the ping pong and more like a volleyball game. In a volleyball game, you on one side you hit the ball, and then the different team members bat that ball around before it comes back across the net. So you can ask a good question and have 3 or 4 students comment and say something about that same question before it comes back to you.
Yeah, these are good suggestions. Yeah, I think I'll try these.
Okay. Well, let's start with one for this afternoon. Okay. Which would you like to work on first? Or
I think I'd like to try the volleyball effect.
Okay.
If that's okay.
Okay. I'll be happy to do it. Look forward this afternoon.
That'd be great. And if I go back into my old habits, would you mind maybe going like that?
I will be happy to do that. Okay?
Thank you.
Great, but it was really, it was a great class.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
Okay.